지난해 8월 미국 주식 주간거래가 사고로 인해서 중단됐었습니다. 그러다가 1년 만에 얼마 전 재개가 됐는데 새로운 거래소들이 한국과 접점을 늘려가면서 더 안정적인 거래 환경을 제공하려고 합니다. 그중 하나인 브루스의 제이슨 월락 CEO 오늘 인터뷰 모시겠습니다. So investors around the globe, they want to trade U.S. stocks during their daytime. Well, Korean investors want to do that too. And there's a huge demand in Korea for that daytime trading. So what do you think of this demand?
Yeah, the demand is incredible. Look, Korean investors and Korean brokers have been incredibly important to the overnight trading session in the U.S. I think it's fair to say that Korean investors, have played a part in actually validating a 24-hour trading day as a permanent part of the U.S. market structure going forward, which really is a major evolution, since the days where stocks traded once a day. We've really come, quite a long way. So, it's some of the characteristics and the demand from the Korean investor that I think are driving this. But it's consistent with, some of the things we see around the globe, which is really the question of why can I buy a toothbrush at 2 o'clock in the morning off the internet, but I can't buy a stock? And so it's incredible to see that our market has delivered on that demand and created the solution. The Korean investor is smart, and they demand a product that delivers an optimal solution and also a product they can trust. I think the brokers here in South Korea have done a tremendous job at creating platforms that deliver on that. The overnight trading session, needs to do the same, right? And so we've created an environment and a healthy market ecosystem where there's competition amongst venues, investors are having a quality experience, and the investor can actually trust the market and the product that they're using to actually execute those orders during daytime here in the U.S.
Well, you're also having good relationship with data providers, and we are having Infomax, and Bruce is having a good relationship. Would you tell me about the partnership? Future plan?
Yeah. Absolutely. Yeah. So we're very excited about the partnership. Certainly it's one of the key reasons for my visit to Seoul this week. And we thank you in advance for that. The key to reasons we are excited is one, Yonhap Infomax represents the #1 distributor of market data to retail brokers in South Korea. You couple that with the demand we spoke of earlier, that it continues to grow with the Korean investor base, it really creates for a great partnership. One of the goals that we sought out to with the Bruce ATS from the beginning was to make things easy and seamless for brokers and for their investors, right? With the distribution that we have in partnership with NASDAQ through our data partnership, as now extending that to include Yonhap Infomax, we can deliver Bruce ATS data to local brokers as well as their customers in a very streamlined and seamless fashion. So with that demand, we're excited for that partnership. I think there's an incredible opportunity to extend that and further deliver data to retail investors. Because right now, we are maturing from a world where there was one market. There was the one ATS, prior to the resumption of trading. We now have 3, right? Having market data redundancy is also important. So traders know and brokers know that they have the benefit of multiple ATSs to find the best price, but also in the case where an ATS had an issue, they know that they can still trade on the other 2, maintaining a quality experience for those investors. On the market data side, it's going to be ever important for that same redundancy to exist. So to have the market data from one ATS, it's now important to have the market data from 2 ATSs. One, to have the redundancy. Also, as Bruce ATS's market share grows, right, that will degrade the quality of other ATS's quotes as a reference price for the overnight market. So an informed and sophisticated investor will demand not only a redundant execution product, but a data product where they can actually see the comprehensive and aggregated market. So through this partnership, I think we can deliver on that demand. We can deliver a better product to the investors and ultimately make them even smarter investors and more active than they are today.
Well, there are other ATS beside Bruce. As an investor, I invest in Netflix.
Sure.
As an investor, the best ATS is which makes trade at the best price for me. So are you ready for that a trade and making best price for us?
Yeah, look, best price is the way to think about markets, right? Market level competition essentially forces various ATSs to compete with each other and deliver solutions that, one, innovate and create opportunities for product, increase opportunities for tighter spreads, ultimately delivering on better prices. So the more competition we have in our markets, the better opportunities there are going to be for the investor to, find not only the best price, but also better prices than exist in a market that is less competitive. If you look at the US market, there are 17 exchanges today. There are 30 plus ATSs that all coexist and compete, to preserve and promote market level competition. The benefit of that all lands with the brokers as well as their customers, right? So as competition increases and as trust is restored with ATSs on exchange grade technologies, right, that competition will grow, liquidity will grow, as well as prices will improve for investors. The other piece of that is that more recently, we've seen brokers launch what are called smart order routers for the overnight trading session. So this is common practice during daytime trading in the US, but for daytime trading here in South Korea, now you have execution solutions that will automatically find the best price for each order at the time that the investor submits that order into the marketplace. And as we see Bruce ATS's volume growing, right? What's happening is that those smart order routers are finding the price, and it's proving that that best price can be found on the Bruce ATS time and time again, will overall increase our market share over time. Recently, we've seen our volumes go up to over 200% from October to November with the resumption of trading in South Korea, which is outpacing the growth of the overall overnight trading session, showing that not only we are delivering and keeping up with the market, but we're outpacing and actually capturing market share from our competitors, largely in part to the fact that these smart order routers and investors can now find the best price on Bruce ATS.
What are your competitive edges compared to your competitors?
So I think the answer to that starts with two things. One is technology, and the other is people. As mentioned, we're partnered with NASDAQ from a technology perspective. NASDAQ powers hundreds of markets around the globe, including the largest single exchange in the United States. That platform is trusted. It is proven. And with that, we can deliver a confident solution to investors and their brokers. The other side is people, right? So the team at Bruce ATS is really comprised of industry veterans with experience running markets, running operations, and navigating through all types of scenarios to ensure operational excellence as well as a quality customer experience. And that applies to both good times and bad, right? Unfortunately, investors that were participating in daytime U.S. stock trading here in South Korea last year felt some of the friction that happens when there's a single market and an incident does occur. We have brought solutions to restore that, but part of it is also being able to navigate through situations like that, and that comes with experience, and that's really what the Bruce team has brought to the table.
So you're ready to handle the sudden spike of trading volume, which might cause the incident. So you have a great team, you have great technology, right?
Yeah, so it's prudent for any market center to prepare for the expected and the unexpected, right? And days of volatility and high volume can come, when you least expect it, right? So the NASDAQ technology that powers the Bruce ATS is tested up to 60 billion messages per day. There are clients that actively use that up to 8 billion messages today.
8 billion?
8 billion messages per day, which far exceeds where Bruce's ATS is at, but it gives us some goals on where we want to be and where we know we can get. So we are operating at levels that we know we have confidence that we can handle any type of spike, whether that be something that is forecasted based upon events on the calendar or something that's occurring based upon an unexpected market event.
You told me that trading volume has been increasing very rapidly.
Yes.
So what is your plan or strategy to grow the trading volume much higher, or much more trading volumes? Because it's important to execute transactions, right?
Yes. So there's a few ways we're strategizing here. One, again, comes back to building up the liquidity within the Bruce ATS as a new market. We launched in March. We are the most recent ATS to go live. We quickly assumed the number 2 spot in June, and we've held that spot steadily since then. We are gaining market share, as mentioned. Our notional market share increased about 100%, since the last month, and we're watching our volumes continue to grow as well. Some of the strategies behind this include, one, working with our clients that are offering smart order routers, showing how our technology is performing in comparison, to other solutions out there. And those smart order routers are indeed finding the best price, which naturally will increase volume on the book. So a lot of this comes down to the technology. The other piece is sort of this looming diversification of participants. The market itself during the overnight trading session is largely driven by retail and market makers, right? And so what has not been participating, which is a big part of our trading ecosystem, is the institutional community. However, volumes are getting to a point where institutions, that have not been paying much attention are actually changing their tone. And they're starting to evaluate what it would take to enter this space, and that's both hedge funds as well as traditional long-only asset managers, right? And so their brokers, which represent a lot of the bulge bracket banks in the United States, are preparing for solutions as that component of our trading ecosystem enters the space. Bruce is very well positioned to capture that business and provide a solution to make a seamless entry for those types of participants.
Well, you mentioned that one Korean broker, NH, is your strategic investors.
Yes.
Also, are you looking for more funds from Korea or partners here?
So the South Korean brokers have been great partners for most of my time operating ATS in the overnight market. NH saw the opportunity to be part of this voice of retail that is really evolving our market structure in the U.S. The U.S. market structure has largely been driven by institutions, and for the first time, with the demand that we spoke of earlier, you're seeing retail actually evolve that to create the 24-hour trading day. I'm very lucky to be the CEO of Bruce ATS and sit and be on the front line of this evolving 24-hour trading day as that becomes a more mature market, as additional tools and additional venues are created, and this becomes a more global phenomenon. NH, one of the largest brokers offering daytime U.S. stock trading here in South Korea, also saw an interest in participating in that collaboration of some of the largest retail brokers in the world to work strategically with Bruce, with our other investors, and really help shape and make sure that the Bruce ATS continues to be built for the retail investor and their brokers, and be in the best interest of customer experience and investor goals.
Jason, why redundant market data is so important?
Absolutely. So I'll give you a couple examples. One, if a broker is only consuming one market data feed from one ATS, yet they're trading on multiple ATSs, if the ATS from which they're receiving their market data has an issue, their customers can still trade, however, they would be doing so blindly because they would not have market data available. So it's really important to create redundancy within the market data experience as well. Another example would be some of our competitors have historically suspended trading in symbols for various reasons, and some of those suspensions last for weeks, if not, a month or more. If the market data feed for a broker is coming from that ATS, and that symbol is traded on that ATS, but can still, is suspended on that ATS, but can still trade on Bruce ATS, that investor may think that they have no opportunity to trade what could be their favorite stock. Could be your Netflix stock, right? So what we want to make sure is that that investor stays informed, stays with data available to make their decisions and enter orders into the marketplace with all of their information they need to feel confident and have a quality investor experience.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
네, 서학개미의 미국 주식 주간 거래를 지원하는 브루스 마켓츠, 이 대체거래소의 CEO를 오늘 모셨는데요. 다음번에도 또 다른 인터뷰로 찾아뵙겠습니다.
It was great to have you today.
Thanks, Young. It was great to be here. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Nice trip. Yeah.
Thanks.